Well, good day to you, family. Good day to you, family. We trust that all is going well with you on whatever the day of the week it is for you, whatever time frame you're in. We trust that all is well with you. Um, we're going to continue our series on building wealth for the Black family. Once again, I'm here for my Black family first because uh, once again we have been given a bad end of a stick from the time we set foot in this nation, not by choice. We were brought here under slavery as far as my people, and then we built this country for free, 240 some odd years. Actually, it was longer than that when you really calculate the time frame. And then once we were so-called emancipated, we were just left with a promise that never got fulfilled. And it's like, okay, well, pull yourself up by your bootstraps and make it happen. With what? So now that we have come into this knowledge and we can read now and we're better educated, and we know how we always been very intelligent people. We created math and science and algebra and chemistry. Those Egyptians, how did they build those pyramids? They were from Africa. Egypt is in Africa. Yeah. So anyway, think about it. Think about it. We're here on purpose for a purpose. Now let's go ahead and get involved with what really makes America run is finances. When you have finances, when you have land, when you have ownership, and now you're allowing your ownership to now cause you to have generational wealth, you have power. Slavery was about really economics. It was about power. When you have economics running in your favor and you have the monopoly on it, you really have the power as far as in this physical earth realm as such. So let's continue to talk about this Roth IRA. Once again, this is the talented 10th financial coach Jay here to serve you. And I trust that I have been serving you well. I just trust you're receiving some information and you're going back and you're doing your research and you're moving forward. So let's dive into some more benefits about this Roth IRA. The Roth IRA is different from the traditional IRA. And we know that Senator Roth introduced this bill to Congress around 1998, and it got approved. 1997, and it got approved. It was legislated, and it was approved, signed off on. And guess what? It was implemented, and people were leery at first about it. Basically what it is the government can get taxes from you now. Say you make $50,000. You pay taxes on that $50,000, and then you do after-tax dollars into your Roth IRA. So you've already paid taxes on it, whatever you put into it, whatever contributions that you make. Therefore, you'll never be taxed on your contributions plus the compound growth ever. Once you turn 59 and a half and you've held it for 5 years, this is the general rule. You held it, you had the account open, the Roth IRA account open in a brokerage account somewhere, and you've had it open for 5 years, and you're 59 and a half. The general rule is you can start pulling all your contributions, all the compound growths, the compound interest, the dividends, everything that multiplied this money that you initially put in through the contributions. Now you're able to pull all of it out tax-free regardless of how much money you make. And it will never go on your tax forms because you've already paid taxes on it. And the whole ideal is to pay taxes on it while it's low. And when it jumps up, say it's up in the millions now, all those we use the example of the couple, $1.3 million that they start pulling out, and we use the 4% rule of thumb. That's 4%. Say, for instance, that money is still compounding at 10%, but you're pulling out 4% and say inflation is 3%, you still have 3% working, compounding for you. It was 10% that you drew on your money for that year. You pulled out 4%, and inflation then jumped up. Every year it's jumping up about 3%, but you still got 3%, so that money never runs out. It never runs out. As long as you continue to watch and inflation jumps up to 8%, maybe you might have to back off what you're pulling off that money for that year. But that $1.3 million that we were using for this couple that was making $74,000 a year together, that because they did it for 25 years, they were maxing it out for the year of 2024 is $7,000 each, $14,000 a year, and they did that for 20 years. They never went up on their contributions, even though they're probably going to get a pay raise, but we'll assume that they didn't get a pay raise. We did the taxes on it. The only thing we didn't do was the local tax and the state tax. That's minimum compared to the federal tax and the Social Security tax and the Medicare tax. And we gave you those numbers, and it was affordable for this couple to live on, even though, you know, they may not be going to Singapore every month. But guess what? They can go to Singapore now, you know, later on in life. And yes, they're a little bit older, and sometimes you slow down. But guess what? Somebody got to start building this generational wealth. So let's talk about it. So we talked about a few provisions that are in there. Once again, it grows tax-free. And we gave you the ages where if you pull out after having been open for 5 years and you're 59 and a half, tax-free, penalty-free, interest-free, all the earnings on it is not taxed ever again. All right? So we also, now this is the kicker right here. And I have to go back and check this one, and I have to make sure I have to come back on here and tell you guys about this one. So once you go and you start pulling your Social Security, under the traditional IRA, there's a thing called, there's a thing called provisional tax. Now, once you start pulling your money out of your traditional IRA, you start paying tax on it at that point. But initially, when you started your traditional IRA, if you have one, you're getting a tax break before the money goes in. I mean, once you put the money in, you get a tax break then. With the Roth, you get a tax break as the money come out because you've already paid taxes on it. But the traditional, so once you start pulling that money off at 65, say we have the same plan, and you start pulling this 4% rule of thumb, that's counted as income. And not only that, once you start drawing Social Security benefits, your Social Security benefits, at whatever age, starting at 62 or whenever, now you fall under once again, you pay the taxes as regular income. But this is the thing about it. You fall under provisional tax. Now they're gonna say, okay, we're gonna tax you on your Social Security benefit up to 85% of your Social Security benefit, depending on what income bracket you fall under. Getting tongue-tied. Depending on what income tax bracket you fall under, you can get taxed up to 85% of your Social Security tax. Now, look at the beauty of the Roth. You'll never fall under the provisional tax to determine if you're going to pay taxes on your Social Security with the Roth IRA. All right? So that's a huge benefit. And also, in addition to that, you have the provisional tax bracket for Medicare. Same thing. So, and the premiums that you will pay depends on the income. And if you don't have to, because you don't have to report your Roth IRA because you done paid taxes on a long time ago, that money going in, that's one of the things that incentive for you to start using this vehicle now and stay with it for this Roth IRA. You don't fall under those provisional tax to see if you're going to get taxed on your Social Security or your Medicare premium. Wow. Okay. The other thing is, under the traditional IRA, just like a traditional 401k, and we'll cover that later. Under the traditional IRA, there's a such thing called RMD, Required Minimum Distribution. For the age that we live in right now, it used to be 70 and a half, then they jumped up to 72. Now, for 2024 up until 2033, 33 is when it would change over to 75 when you start taking, you must take out qualified minimum distribution. And there's a chart, and it'll tell you, it kind of starts out around 4%, and it kind of goes up depending on your life when they think that how long you're going to live. So they want to really get that money because they want to start getting the taxes on that money that you've been getting tax benefits from when you were with the traditional IRA. So once you reach right now, today is 2024 right now, and up to 2000, let's just say 2032, because it starts at 75 at 2033. So 73 years old. So if I was 73 years old right now and under my IRA, traditional IRA, I would have to start taking, it's about 4%, but there's a chart. You will get with your tax advisor or planner or whoever, and make sure that you start taking out that required minimum distribution, and you're taxed on that money. The beauty of the Roth IRA is there's no RMD. There's no required minimum distribution. You can now set this money up for future generations. But I will tell you that once you pass away with either of the accounts, whether it's a traditional IRA or it's a Roth IRA, at the end of in your demise, you pass away, and now you got somebody's got your beneficiaries for your IRA, whichever one, Roth or traditional. All that money's got to be out of that account within 10 years. That came about with the Secure Act of 2019. It used to be a stretch IRA where people can stretch it along for a lifetime. But now all that money's got to be out by the 10th year. You don't have to take it all out each year the same amount. You can take some out the first year, some the 7th year, but the 10th year, it's got to be gone. But think about it. With the Roth IRA, whoever your beneficiaries are, they don't have to pay taxes. So it doesn't even matter. It doesn't hurt them. But with the IRA, traditional IRA, if they got to pull that money out, and if they're already in a high tax bracket, it's going to take them even higher because they got to start paying taxes as that money come out. So it's a way for you to think about and strategize. And once again, I got to say this, that one of the beauty of the Roth IRA is, it's a traditional IRA as well, is if your spouse is not working because you chose one spouse stay home and take care of the family, take care of the home, you can still have an individual retirement arrangement for your spouse. And as long as you're making up to whatever the income limit is for the year, say you make whatever you make, you got to make it, if you're trying to max out both of them for the year 2024, $14,000 total, $7,000 in your spouse, $7,000 in yours. But once again, now I will tell you this, with the spouse, if the other spouse passes away, that spouse can now string that spouse's, if they're the beneficiary, they can string that the withdrawals over time. And once again, if it's Roth, they'll never pay tax on it. If it's traditional, they're going to have to pay taxes on it. So Just something for you to think about as you continue to build generational wealth for the Black family. And we want to max out every vehicle that we have, or start funding it, and then eventually get to the point where we're able to max it out. All right, I'm going to come back to you next time, and we're going to be talking about the 401k. Talk to you soon.